long time coming. We've been chasing each other and trying to get our calendars straight, and we finally got to get in touch with you, and we appreciate you taking your time.
No, for sure. Thanks for having me.
And then we want to also thank you for your service in the military.
Yes, sir. It was totally a pleasure. I would do it all over again. Sometimes my friends and I have conversations about that, and I'm like, I definitely wouldn't change anything other than the fact that I would probably consider going to jump school, and I may have considered staying enlisted a little bit longer.
I see. I was hoping you were going to say you would have considered going to the Air Force because,
You know what? Hey, it's armed forces, so I'm going to support that because I'm not going to say what they normally say about the Air Force.
The old Air Force.
There you go.
No, thank you for doing that for the United States of America. And how does one go from being in the military to being a very successful and looked up to musician?
You know what? That is a great question. I think all along my path didn't start out on, it was there, but it didn't totally start out in music. Like I've been in the medical field for a very long time. And the military, I mean, I come from a strong military background family, but it's all branches. I had relatives in the Navy and the Air Force, also in the Army, in the Marines and what have you. So across all different, and even the Coast Guard. So I had relatives, primarily male relatives, but then I had one female cousin that had joined when I was in high school, and I always kind of admired her for doing it and kind of setting the path and being the trailblazer in my family for doing that. And then I had it's weird, when I first went in, I had a cousin on my mom's side and a cousin on my dad's side, both females. They're like, "Hey, Brei, we're going in the military. You should think about coming with us under this buddy system." And I was like, okay. I think at that point in my life, honestly, if I'm truthful, I needed maybe just a little bit of discipline in my life, and I needed something to change and to be different. And I went ahead and I went in, and the weird thing about it is they initially were planning on going in together. They didn't get a chance to go in together. I was the dividing force, because I ended up going in with my cousin on my mom's side, and my cousin on my dad's side had to go to a different place. So,
you talk about going from the military to music, and one other very famous musician made that leap. Elvis went from the Army to music.
Yes.
And
yes.
he had a pretty good career. So maybe you're onto something.
Hey, you know what? I hope so. But I love America, and obviously every place has its issues, but I would fight for it every day. I mean, it's just so important, the freedoms, the liberties that we have here, and it's because people are willing to lay their lives on the line, for our liberties, for our freedom. So I think it's good. And just music, you had asked the question earlier. Music is medicine. Music is music to the soul. Music has no color. There's no boundaries. And it's kind of the military. The military had no colors. You were other than green. Obviously, in the Army, you were a green soldier, whether you were dark green, you were light green, you're just green. And that's one of the things that I really loved about it, and just how I grew up, just not seeing color and just seeing people as people. And I think music does the same thing.
Absolutely. I love it.
Absolutely. So your music basically is a bunch of things together. It's kind of country, soul, and a little bit of Southern pop. Can you describe your genre of music for our listeners?
Yes. So I grew up listening to some of everything. I also grew up in the church, so gospel was very strong in my upbringing. What have you? I tell people, I'm a God lover. I'm not perfect by no means, but I'm here by the grace of God every day. And just, I think, because of the different influences, I think they all kind of gel and melt, kind of come together as one. But I would say overall, I grew up on traditional country more than the bro and the modern and the pop country and what have you. So my heart, true and true, is more traditional country. But I think as I'm growing as an artist and developing, I think the soul is coming a little bit more in it. So I think as I'm trying to define my music and define me, I would say I'm probably leaning more towards country soul and who I am, just with that, and just the good feel good music and what have you. And obviously, some people say it kind of crosses the line a little bit of Southern pop. I don't know. People say, what do you do? I do country soul, and I let God just do the rest of it.
I got to tell you, you can hear the traditional influence in your songs. I definitely pick up on that right away.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to more from you.
Awesome. You know what? I got some good stuff coming next year. I'm super psyched. This year was kind of a light year on releases, but next year I've been working with some other producers and I just can't wait, to release the music and let everyone hear it.
Excellent. Who are the producers you're working with, just out of curiosity?
Recently, it's Jimmy Ritchie. So
Okay.
he's out of Nashville. So Jason Wyatt, I've done a lot of things with him as well. But as of late, it's been Jason Ritchie.
Excellent. Good.
So that's who's coming out real soon.
Very nice.
And your most recent single that you put out there is Straight Up Country Crazy. Is that?
Yes, straight up country crazy. That's because we're all crazy. We're country. It's like being from the country and not caring. I mean, there are no reservations in who you are. You're proud of who you are and where you're from, and it's okay for being a little crazy. You don't have to be prim and proper. You can get dirty. You can dress up. It's just really being straight up country crazy is about being yourself and being true to your roots and who you are.
Excellent. I like that. You brought up the music is medicine, and I love that you have a blog on your website.
Yes, sir.
Tell me how you got into that, and how important is that to make sure people are reflecting on how music can affect you and help you?
I would say it's very, very, very important. And I've just always realized just with music, I mean, just how in times of sorrow and grief and loss and what have you, just what music did for me. And then I started doing even more research being in the medical field, just how music can truly heal the body. It just totally changes our thought process and what have you. And as we learn to focus on and emit happy feelings and times of joy and what have you, and focus on living and the music and the sound waves, I think it there's something there. I think there's a lot there that people really aren't tapping into.
The message is pretty good in your blog and in your writings, and it just made me think of something. A past guest of ours, I'm going to forward your website onto him with the link to the blog and make sure he shares that with his people.
Thank you.
The guys up in Gloucester that we had on the show, they're a veteran,
Soldiers, Songs, and Voices.
and they're a veteran group that use teaching how to play the guitar and write lyrics to help veterans express themselves, and they use the music to try and help them define what's going on in their head and in their emotions. So I think your blog is a perfect use for them and brings a really profound message for them to read into as well.
Thank you. I really appreciate
you.
that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's an incredible organization that they have, the Soldiers, Songs, and Voices. And they actually give people that don't know how to play any kind of music, they'll give them an instrument, a nice guitar. They'll give them the lessons. They put people together. They actually record albums and they put them out there. And it, like Mark said, it really helps them through tough times.
Yeah.
I think it's so important because sometimes people ask what I do, and I'm like, if I won the lottery, obviously there's a one in I don't know how many billion chances of that happening. But if I won the lottery or if I inherited more, I would love to do more for veterans out there, because unfortunately, as much as I hear people saying all the time there are resources, and I'm like, if there are resources, we wouldn't have a ton of veterans that are on the street and what have you, or and maybe there may be some health benefits, but if they don't know about them, they don't have access to phones or computers, or they can't even get to these places to get the help. It's like it's not even there. And it's just, it's just so disheartening seeing a lot of veterans that are on the street, amputated. Their health is not necessarily the best. So any way that I could help veterans and what have you and give back is just so important and near and dear to me in my heart.
Yeah, we love that. Go on Bree's social media and let her know that what she's saying right now is important, and we appreciate it. And make sure that you follow her on all her social medias, which we're going to tell you about right now.
Right. And I know how to get her on the interweb.
On the interweb. Oh,
In the interweb.
He's coming a long way.
I'm just serious. That would be BreiCarter.com, and Brei is BREI Carter.com. And you can watch videos. You can listen to her music. She has some awesome holiday stuff out there. She does have some merch. You can find out there's a great story. And I was going to bring this up. You were in medical sales, and something significant about the passing of your father that pushed you to do it, or was it just happened to be the timing?
I think it was a combination of things. I think the thing that really kind of pushed me towards that direction is just really reflecting on just how precious life is. and how it really, tomorrow's not promised to any of us. You know, we get angry, we put things off, there's a ton of regret and what have you. I just say you have to live each moment to the fullest. It doesn't matter how old you are, you know, what you were born without or what have you. Just make a decision and follow your dreams. If God gives you a vision, you know, try to see it through, do everything within your power to do it. And I think his passing and what have you, it just made me realize the more, girl, you only get one life. You know, you can't go back and turn the hands of time. And I think I did a post today on LinkedIn, and it was kind of saying that about just living life with no regrets. And obviously we've all made mistakes in our lives and what have you, or been in unfortunate situations, and unfortunately maybe trauma or tragedies happen to most of us, but not letting those things hold us back from the path or our true destiny, and just kind of going for it.
You mentioned something like if you won the lottery, I just want you to know I'll be a much closer friend at that point if it happens. But yeah, I'm trying to live my life and I don't want to make any mistakes. If you win, I want to be there for you.
I love it.
We mentioned the website. We mentioned the social media. The most important thing you could do is go follow Brei. Make sure you're listening to her songs, download them, stream them, and make sure you buy some merch, because by supporting her, you're supporting the very important message that she's delivering. And it's a very important one for sure.
That's what, thank you.
Brei, you have a song out there about life's musical story. Life's musical story. Stronger Than That.
Yes.
We are going to listen to Stronger Than That, and then we're going to come back and we're going to ask you to tell us how you wrote that and how you came up with the lyrics.
And before we get there, Brei, I just want to say I'd have a hard time reading that writing too. You should work on your penmanship.
Mark, I had to write big because
Brei Carter, Stronger Than That.
This wide-eyed girl down a rocky road, through all the turns and setbacks, I carried that heavy load for all those years, but it got me here. People talking, their whispers were so loud. It was tough for a teenage girl living in that town. They wrote me off and crossed me out. Mama had no doubt I wouldn't just survive. I find that fighter inside. Well, I'm stronger than that. I've pushed through the pain, had to hold on to hope. I found grace in a hurricane. I rose above the ashes of the past. I'm stronger than that. I'm a woman now who learned along the way. Believe in me no matter what they say. Knock me down, I'll get back up. You find out who you are when you take a stand. And I know who I am. Well, I'm stronger than that. I've pushed through the pain, had to hold on to hope. I found grace in a hurricane. I rose above the ashes of the past. I'm stronger than that. I'm stronger than that. Yeah, my fate was always in my hands. I know the power that I have. Well, I'm stronger than that. I've pushed through the pain,
All right, Brei, that was Stronger Than That. Thank you. That is a fantastic message. Could you tell us a little bit about that song and how you wrote that and maybe who you wrote it with?
Yes. Um, that song, oh my goodness, I wrote that during the pandemic. Stronger Than That was my story, but it wasn't only my story, it was my friends' stories, my cousin's story. It was so many people that I knew and people that I didn't know. It was their story as well. And it kind of alludes to what we discussed earlier about being stronger than any situation or anything that you've been through, mistakes and what have you, or tragedy or trauma happening to you and just moving through it. So with that, unfortunately, when I was younger, my parents they separated, they divorced. So dealt with that. Not only that, in our family, family members that had had alcoholism or sickness or someone dying and what have you, and other people going through divorce or, having people not being able to pay their bills. Just kind of reflecting on, people say life happens. Life happens to all of us. As long as we're living, it's going to happen. It's going to hit you one way or another. And during the pandemic, just also losing some loved ones. Um, I wrote that with Mr. Burton. He's actually out of Canada. We wrote that song. We did it over Zoom, and he was just like, "What do you want to write about?" And I'm like, I want to tell my story. I want to tell a part of my story, a piece of me." And it was just, the song just says that no matter what you've been through, you're stronger than that. You can make it through. You can overcome. You have to dig deep within, and you got to start. You got to believe in yourself first and foremost. I hear people say all the time about you have to love yourself. When you learn to love yourself and appreciate yourself, then you're opening yourself up for more people to love you. When you realize and you dig deep down and you realize that you're stronger than whatever tried to break you or tear you down, that you're stronger than that, you're gonna rise to the top. You're gonna overcome.
What a
And
gr-
it was written for that purpose, to let everyone know, hey, you're gonna make it through. You may fall down. Don't stay down. Get back up. You
Yeah.
may not have all the resources that you need. Don't give up. Keep pushing forward.
Did emotions come out that you hadn't experienced or hadn't gone through before, and this brought it to, at least for you to have to deal with and go through?
For sure. But I think I had made peace with things early on, before my father passed, when I went and saw him on his deathbed, because he was in hospice for a while and what have you. So I had honestly made peace with, as they say, the demons or the things that, kind of tore the family apart and what have you. So I kind of had already made peace with those things, but just to discuss it over Zoom, the feelings and emotions were there, because just like you and I are looking at each other, it was the same thing. So it's the same as being in person. I mean, you're forced to deal with things, you're forced to talk about things, but it's okay, because sometimes talking about issues and problems that you've had or you've dealt with, it allows even more healing to take place. And I knew I had to do it, not only because music isn't about me. It is about me, but it's about you. It's about other people too. That's why we do it. It's not just, hey, let me get a song out there for me, for my glory. I mean, it's done, obviously, everything done into the glory of God, but it's done to uplift and encourage other people. I tell people, I am my brother, I am my sister's keeper. None of us can do it alone. So it is to encourage and to motivate you and everyone else out there that you're stronger than whatever you've dealt with or you're going through.
Mhm. And you're talking about going through hard times. What has been the hardest obstacle that you as a musician has been faced with?
You know what? Honestly, being surrounded with the right team. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people out there that they know you want it. They see your vision and what have you. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people that want to take advantage of that. And sometimes maybe just not getting an opportunity because you don't look like what someone thinks you should look like for country music and what have you, or they think it's a game or something like that. But at the end of the day, it's being true to me, and regardless of whatever hard things that maybe I've been through, I would say also not necessarily, everyone wants to get booked for gigs, and you want to get booked for paying gigs, but it seems like people want you to do all these free gigs. Obviously, the lights have to be turned on. I mean, it's for fun, but it's a profession.
Mhm.
Um, it's my livelihood. So in those instances, when things like those happen, you just have to keep going, because I just realized, you know what, for every no that you get, eventually a yes is going to come. You may go through 100 no's, or you may get 100 doors shut in your face, but if you're persistent and you hold on, what you need is going to for sure come through. You just got to stay true to the course. You can't give up. So I think for me, I hold on to the good. I've always been, I'm, the glass is half full versus half empty. Always been very optimistic to to see the brighter side of things, see the light at the end of the tunnel. You know, sometimes my friends are like, you're not a realist. I'm like, I am a realist. I choose to see the positive and the good. And I think the more you focus on those things, regardless of the other stuff, those are the things that'll manifest and come into your life.
So to be able to put your music out there and bring a smile to someone's face with these songs and to touch someone's heart, it takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of money to make it happen. People have to remember that part of it. And it's a struggle for you to have to say no to some people at times. That I hope they understand why at times you have to.
For sure. I
So
have a great publicist, honestly. He's big about, Brei, they need to pay you for your time. And I'm like, Jason, they're going to pay. Just, you have to know when, because sometimes it is for a good cause. And you have the things that you're passionate about. Like I shared with you, military and what have you. I'm passionate about those things.
yeah,
So in some of those things, everything can't be about the money, but people also have to realize when they book you and what have you, you know, even people buying merchandise and what have you, those things, every little bit helps.
absolutely. You've got the videos out there. What's been the most fun video to work on that you've done so far?
Honestly, I like them all. Some people are like, you can't like them all. I really love them all for different reasons. But I would say one that is really near and dear that really it tugs at my heartstrings is the Kiss an Angel Good Morning, because my mom was in there and my dad, well, my stepfather. So my mom and my stepfather, which my stepfather is like my dad, so I say he's my dad. So they're in the video, and just having them there and just them showing love to one another and my parents cooking, it's a reflection of what takes place, you know, at my parents at home and how I grew up, you know, with them. So I think it's just something really special about that. But not only that, the cameo of the late Mr. Charlie Pride, him being in the video, and you know, Miss Rosine, his late wife, she's giving her blessing for it. I think just those things, it just says a lot. And I think I'll always remember that video, because obviously none of us know how long we have here on this earth, but that'll go on and live, you know, long past me, long past my parents. But just that, the love in the house, and that being shown in Kiss an Angel Good Morning.
Okay. Making the videos fun. Do you enjoy that? Is that a great part
Oh
of
my goodness, yes. Yes.
Good.
So Brei, you've been in magazines, you've been on the radio, obviously, and you've been on TV. What has been your highlight in your music career?
Being on Musicians and Beyond.
Well,
Yes.
that's given.
Hey, that's a
Really,
given.
you've really made the pinnacle of your career here with me and Mark.
Exactly.
Besides that, what would second highlight in your career be?
I would say it was really amazing to be on the Huckabee show. That was honestly, it was surreal. It was really good. Governor Huckabee, he's amazing. Just the staff, the band, and just the love. And then not only that, having my family to be there also, that just, you know, obviously when you're climbing the ladder and you're doing these things and you're having these moments, it's wonderful when you have family and friends that are there to support you. And that was just, it was amazing. I still get giddy when I think about it, like a little kid, just being able to be on that show. So I would say that was definitely one of my top highlights in my music career.
Well, that's fun. And you talk about climbing the ladder. So the ladder is a ladder of success. So where do you see yourself in about 5 or 10 years?
A household name. Truly a household name, making a difference, selling out stadiums or auditoriums, just honestly making a difference. Because truly, whether I'm performing in an audience of 1 or 2 or 10 or, you know, 100,000, it's all important to me. So really, I just want to, 5 years from now, I want to make sure that I'm really making a difference in someone's life through my music, and maybe saving a life through the tunes that I put out.
You mentioned that the size of the stages or the audiences. What's the largest audience you've performed in front of to date?
Well, do we get a chance to count? If we add the Huckabee show,
Well, yeah.
supposedly
Oh boy, that's
it reaches, I don't know how many million. That, and not only that, Nashville Insider.
okay.
That's a national show.
Yeah,
That's a highlight. How could I forget that? And also being chosen to be one of their correspondents, Nashville Insider.
That's pretty cool.
Huge. So I would say those are two things. But the largest crowd I think has been in front of like roughly around 4,000.
Wow. Well, how do you handle that with the nerves?
You know what? Initially, early on, I think that used to get to me, and I still get the butterflies and I still get the nerves. And sometimes I'm like, I need a little liquid courage before I go before I go on. But honestly, it's just the fact that, hey, girl, God's giving you this gift. You know what? Whether you do great or you flop or whatever, you just got to get out there and give your all. And it's a process. The more I do it, the better I'll get. But you just get past and you're like, hey, they want to see you. You have to perform. The mic's in your hand. What are you gonna do? You got to rise to the occasion and you have to do it. And pray that God will allow the people to hear and to see the things that they need to see and hear in the message and you being out there performing.
And what is the liquid courage of choice?
Probably a little bourbon.
Oh, there you go. I
Right
love
up
it.
our
I
alley,
love
Mark.
it.
I knew I loved this girl. So when you're up on stage, Brei, and you're looking out to the crowd, what's it feel like when people are wearing shirts with your face on it, or, you know, singing every word to your song, or shedding a tear to something that's touching their heart?
You know what? To me, it's an honor. It's an honor and it's a privilege. And it's not to be taken lightly or taken for granted. And it's a gift that I'm giving them, but it's also a gift that they're giving me by, supporting me and showing me that they care and what have you. That it's a feeling that's honestly, it's almost indescribable. It's a good feeling.
I got a question. Do you have, you mentioned Charlie Pride, and I know you've got a mixed and diverse music background. Who would you like to share the stage with at some point? Who would you like to co-host or share the stage and do a duo with?
You know what? That is a great question. There's a whole lot of them, and for different reasons. I love Shania Twain. I, I, I mean, I've always loved her growing up, but it's just something about her, just her energy, just her passion, her spark. I love, Reba McEntire. She's a powerhouse. Just her voice and just who she is, and she's like the girl next door, the lady, the aunt next door, or what have you. Um, Chris Stapleton, I love him. They're just honestly, there's so many. Dolly Parton, I couldn't leave her out.
You're down in Nashville now. Where's the family?
So, originally from Louisiana. I have family that is still in Louisiana. My parents now live in Mississippi.
Okay.
I have animals. I have a boyfriend. I have animals, and they're in Illinois. So if I'm not performing or working or doing those things, I'm back home in Illinois. So, which is nice because it's a couple of acres. It's getting out of the apartment, and it's just feeling free, where my mind can roam and not have to think, and I can just be on the land and what have you, which is what I enjoy most when I'm not, singing and, being with family.
You find yourself in a place that it's a good time to write music?
You know what? Yes and no. Sometimes yes, but sometimes I'm able to just be. Now, a thought may come in my head and I may not write the song, I may jot it down, but it's really taking advantage. And I've started learning to be more present because time is just so precious, and it's the most precious commodity that any of us have, and you can't get it back. And it really is priceless. So I try to make sure I'm tapping in those times a little bit more.
And where do you come up with most of your ideas for your music?
All over. It could be in this conversation that I have like now with the interview and what have you. And I just thought of it, how bad do you want it? So just as sitting here with you guys, it's just like, how bad do you want it? And it brings me back to, when I got your message and I'm like, oh my goodness, I didn't know it was today. And for us, you're like, okay, we can reschedule it. And I'm like, no, let's do it. Seize the moment. Carpe diem. Make the most of the moment. Seize the time now. And it could be anywhere that inspiration comes in. I just try to leave myself open to the things around me, to signs and conversations and just visions and what have you. So inspiration for me comes from a lot of different places.
When you say that, I was thinking about one of your songs. She gave him a girl, or gave him a girl.
Gave him a girl.
Gave him a girl. Tell me about that song and the lyrics behind that.
Daddy wanted a boy. Daddy thought he was getting a boy. He wanted a boy. Obviously, every dad wants a son. Some people say every dad wants a daughter. Every father wants a daughter. But I think every dad really wants a boy, someone to follow in his footsteps. And I think I don't think they got the best of both worlds. Like, my mom loves to fish. I'll go fish, know how to hunt. I was in the military. I know how to handle a gun. I drive a truck. I also drive a Jeep. So it's those things. Growing up, I remember it was so funny. I used to play with lizards and different things like that. So I was almost a tomboy too. So, but I like being a girly girl. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. Wanted a boy, but I turned out to be a girl. And you see, this is what you got.
And you mentioned fishing. Are you fishing in that video? Do you go out and fish in that one?
Yes, we're fishing in that video. So
Okay.
that's a friend of mine that I had to, that was actually in the video because my parents couldn't come down when it was time to actually do that. But yeah, it's important. Take advantage of those times, just nature and being out. And, during the summer and the spring, I garden and my mom gardens and cans. And, this year, unfortunately, my crop didn't do what it normally does. I didn't get a chance to do salsa or do pickles this year, but it's those things that I love. This year, my mom and we started a new tradition. So for the holidays, every Christmas, we're going to make these bows. A bow, and the bow could be a tree topper. It could be like a wreath on the door and different things like that. And they're big, beautiful, elaborate bows. And normally we do the gingerbread houses, but I told my mom this year it was just her and I. And I said, going forward, this is going to be our thing. We're going to start making these bows. So it's the memories and it's things like that matter.
What kind of advice do you think that you would give to a younger musician? They came up to you and said, Brei, I want to break through in the music world. What should I do?
You know what? You should go for it. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy. And everyone's path, everyone's journey, it looks different. But go for it. And even if you face difficult times and you feel like you want to give up and everyone says no, or people tell you you're not good enough, and there may be times you may even doubt yourself, don't give up. You just got to, every day, every step that you make, every time you open your mouth, every time you work on your craft, your skill, it's going to get better. Just stay the course and just go for it. And it doesn't matter how long it may take you. You may be an overnight success, but it may take you 10 years. But if it's your passion and it's what you really want to do, just go for it and don't let anyone stop you. Most importantly, don't let you stop you.
I love it because they are stronger than that.
Yes.
There we go. So you are listening to Musicians and Beyond, and we are talking with Brei Carter.
He thought he was so clever with that, didn't he?
That was good. That was a good segue, I thought, Mark. And did you catch a couple minutes ago? She said she's going to write a song about us.
I caught on a few things, but I just thought that was pretty, you looked at me like, aren't you proud of me?
Right. All right. Well, anyways, you're listening to Musicians and Beyond. Make sure you go to our Instagram, give us a follow Brei Carter, go on her breicarter.com, download some music, buy some merch, support her. Her schedule is on there, I believe, and you can go find out where she's going to be and check her out live. You will not be disappointed. She's got some great stuff.
You're big on Christmas music too, aren't you?
I am. And I released my Christmas album this year.
I love it.
You guys need to have a laid back Christmas. The reality is that trees go up before Thanksgiving today. And I'm like, why should we have to wait until after Turkey Day? Let's celebrate now. If I could, I would probably, I don't know if I want it all year round, my tree up, but I'd probably have it up at least half the year. Yeah.
I like that idea. Now, we had a past guest who did a Christmas album, James Norkowich. We should make sure you two get introduced because I think that would be an incredible collaboration. I think it would be amazing. I'll send you his information because you two could do something really, really, really special Christmas.
I would love that.
What do you think, Mark? Should we let Miss Brei go and we can go grab a bourbon ourselves?
Absolutely. And I have to say, Brei, this has been an absolute pleasure. I hope it's not the last time we talk and have you on the show. We'd love to have you back again. We'd like to thank everyone that comes on the show as a friend of ours. So we want to thank you for being our friend.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless.